cheating wife? No worries, I turned the situation in my favor with an unexpected twist. Be me, 31 years old, living in Phoenix, Arizona. Thought this day couldn't get any worse. Boy, was I wrong? Entire week at work had been complete disaster. Company president, also my boss, called me into his office. Got chewed out for someone else's mistake. Finally made it home after hellish day. Frustration hits new level. Sister-in-law's fancy BMW blocking my driveway. Can't even park at my own house. Neighbor's kid and his annoying friends filled entire street with their cars. Had to park 3 blocks away in the summer heat. Walking back, questioning all my life choices. Relationship with wife's sister Amanda always been tense. She made it clear from day one that she hated me. Never understood why. Not expecting peaceful evening with my wife Christine. Haven't been intimate for almost a month. Tried everything to change that. Dragging garbage bin from curb to house. Trying to shake off stress. Grab cold bottle of imported beer from fridge. About to head to living room. Christine and Amanda chatting. Something stops me cold. Overhear words that make my blood freeze. God, he fucked me 3 times today, my wife says. Not realizing I'm close enough to hear. Voice responding isn't Amanda's. It's Thomas. Ever since Victor came back into her life last month, Christine had been different. Know him too well. Her ex-boyfriend who moved away years ago apparently made quite the comeback. So what now, Amanda asks curiously. Christine replies casually. Victor wants me to move in with him. Going to get a lawyer and file for divorce. It's community property state. We'll get half of everything. That's when my mind goes numb. Without thinking, retrace my steps to car. Sink into driver's seat. Try to process what just heard. Everything makes sense now. Lack of intimacy. The distance between us. She wasn't sharing herself with me anymore. Giving it all to him. Now wants to take half of everything I worked for. Worst part is state would probably let her do it. Christine and I only married for 3 years. Right after wedding, she quit her job. Never really did much around house. Had to hire maid 3 times weekly for cleaning and laundry. On those days, Christine might cook dinner. Most times I was cooking. Or she'd order expensive takeout from fancy places. Looking back, it's obvious. Was blinded by love back then. She kept me happy with great intimacy, at least until about a month ago. Lost my mother when I was 13. Father and I became incredibly close after that. Losing him to drunk driver at 23 destroyed me. Happened just year before meeting Christine. Inherited about $3.2 million from father. Smartly invested under guidance of solid broker. Despite Christine's best efforts to spend everything, never touched inheritance. Even managed to save hundreds of thousands more. Economy took hit, but still sitting pretty comfortable. Love made me stupid though. Didn't get prenuptial agreement. Believed marriage would last forever. Now looking at possibility of her walking away with almost $1.5 million. Like handing her golden ticket for betrayal. Sitting in car realizing she hasn't filed yet. Which gives me some time. Start formulating plan in my head. Wait in car until see Amanda leave. Make U-turn and drive back to house. Walk inside! Christine nowhere to be found. Grab another beer and settle in. Christine appears in kitchen, acting like everything normal. Oh, there you are, honey, she greets sweetly. I didn't hear you come in. Hey dear, just got in, long day, I say. Forced smile probably looks a lot like hers past month. She's good actress, but I can play that game too. I didn't have time to order anything for dinner. She pouts. Want to scream about her being too busy with Victor. Instead, smile and say, that's okay, sweetie. Tell her I'll just heat up some leftovers from last night. She smiles and kisses my cheek. Tells me she's going upstairs for bath. Nod and smile as she walks away. Think to myself, yeah, gotta wash all that away, huh? Heat up some cold fried rice. Down 2 more beers before settling into den. Flip through channels. Land on some old Western movie. Not even paying attention. Mind elsewhere, already planning next move. Christine comes back about half hour later. Sits on couch with me until movie ends. Says she's heading to bed. Yeah, tired from all the cheating, I think to myself. Tell her I'll join after the news. Spend weekend keeping myself busy. Saturday working yard all day. Sunday play golf with some buddies. Monday morning get down to business. Call my broker. Have inheritance liquidated. Cash in 401k. Penalty be damned. Need money ready by Thursday. Everything set perfectly. Walk into house and tell Christine. Have to fly out for week on business. Pack 2 suitcases. That's all I need. Everything important already packed away. None of it fit with Christine's taste anyway. We're renting house, so not tied to it. Recently sold my condo. Been house hunting, but nothing good enough for her standards. Doesn't matter anymore. That Friday morning, kiss Christine on cheek one last time. Load bags into Lexus. Drive off without looking back. First stop at Buddy Oliver's place. Trust him with my life. After filling him in, swap Lexus for his older but rebuilt Ford F-150, making sure no one can trace me. He promises to keep car hidden for while. With that, I'm heading west. Ready to start over completely. Use cash for everything. Making sure to leave no trace behind. Canceled all our credit cards. ensuring Christine won't be able to track me down. Most of my money now safely stashed in offshore account. Thanks to my broker's quick work, he set up system where I could access funds when needed. For now, have enough cash hidden in truck. Keep me going for good while hardest part is long, lonely nights in cheap motels. Over past week, been too focused on escape plan. Haven't really processed what happened to me. Had loved Christine with everything I had. No doubt about that, otherwise wouldn't have walked down aisle with her. Keep running through all what-if scenarios in head. No matter how many angles look at it, end result would have been same. Even if had known her old flame Victor was back. Couldn't have stopped it. Eventually come to bitter realization. She probably never loved me way I loved her. Been fool for not seeing it sooner. By 5th day of driving, find myself in small Wyoming town, sitting in mom and pop diner, poking at plate of greasy eggs and toast. Can't help but wonder what Christine doing now. By this point, she figured out credit cards canceled. Access to joint account gone. Imagine her frantically calling bank, trying to understand how she got cut off. Small victory brings faint smile to face. Thoughts interrupted by quiet conversation. Coming from table next to mine. Older couple, probably late 50s. Chatting over their coffee. Man with face weathered from years' hard work. Telling his wife they shorthanded on their farm. Need help but can't afford hire anyone. Not until calves ready for market. Even then, finding someone willing work for what they could pay. Not easy these days. As finish meal idea pops into head. Stand up and walk over to their table. Politely introduce myself. Apologize for overhearing. Then offer to help. Man gives me skeptical once over. You heard what we were talking about, right? I can't afford to pay anyone, he says, clearly doubtful. What if I didn't need payment, I reply. Just looking for place to stay in exchange for some work. He narrows eyes. Eleanor, give me minute with this young man. Says to his wife standing up. Motions for me to follow him outside. Once in parking lot, he turns to face me. Sizing me up again. He's about my height, 6 feet tall. Broad shoulders, not spare ounce of fat. His gray hair probably been dark in younger years. Face etched with deep lines from working in sun. So who are you? He asks bluntly. You work for that Harrison fellow down at Harrison Ranch. Raise my hands in show of peace. Whoa, slow down there. Don't even know who Harrison is. 5 days ago was living in Phoenix. Just got here this morning. Just looking for fresh start. He wasn't convinced yet. If that's true, then why offer help us? What's in it for you? If you're running from cops, we don't need that trouble. Let out long breath. Tell him my story. Explain about wife cheating with ex. How she planning take me for everything. Tell him I'm not criminal. Just guy try and keep what rightfully his. Just need place to stay, I say. I'll work hard. If doesn't work out, I'll move on. No hard feelings. Man studies me for a while, then nods slowly. If you're telling truth, I'd be crazy not give you chance. But warn you right now, Harrison's been sniffing around trying buy me out. Haven't done anything illegal yet. Wouldn't put it past them. Could be walking into mess. I shrug shoulders. I'll take my chances. He asks what kind experience have with ranch work. I'm honest with him. Tell about spending few summers working uncle's place back in Arizona. Not exactly seasoned cowboy. He gives considering look, then extends hand. Name's Walter. Shake his hand, introduce myself as Daniel. Head back into diner, where Eleanor waiting with curious look on face. Eleanor, this is Daniel, Walter says. He's going to help us out on farm. We'll see if he can hack it. Eleanor stands up and smiles warmly, extends her hand to me. Shake it and feel bit more grounded. Knowing might have found way to land on feet. Shake her hand and she greets me warmly. Pleasure to meet you, Daniel, she says with smile. Her voice has clear, no-nonsense tone. Faintest trace of Scottish accent. Like her husband, she's trim and fit. Gives off air of someone who knows how hold their own. Nice to meet you too, ma'am, I reply politely. She chuckles and waves hand. Last name's Anderson, but just call me Eleanor. Don't much care for formality around these parts. Instantly like her. She's warm, direct, and easy talk to. Walter suggests we head back to ranch. Before we leave town, he makes stop at general store. You might want grab some clothes that'll hold up better on ranch, he says as we both step out vehicles. Store owner greets Walter like old friend. Clearly he's regular. 40 minutes later, walk out with small stack ranch appropriate gear. Few pairs of jeans, work shirts, heavy coat, pair of Western-style riding boots. Enough last me for week, at least until get better settled. Drive to ranch from store takes about 20 minutes. Pull through main gate. Notice large wooden arch, name Thunder Valley Ranch carved into it. That's Walter's brand. Another mile down private road. Brings us to main house. Sits proudly on hilltop. 2-story home, well kept. Freshly painted white with green trim. Large red barn and several outbuildings spread behind it. Their truck loaded with Saks groceries. Clearly from weekly run into town for supplies. Park behind them. Grab armload of bags. Follow Walter and Eleanor into house. After 2 quick trips, have everything unloaded. Walter hands me keys to old pickup. Go ahead, take this around back, he says, pointing direction of small cabin. That'll be where you'll stay? Drive truck around as instructed. Find Walter standing by cabin door waiting. He points to small modest building. Explains Benjamin's cabin just over there. Gestures to similar structure few yards away. You'll meet him later. He's out making rounds. After unloading bags, take minute checkout place. Cabin is simple. Single room with bed. Table with 2 chairs. Pot-belly wood stove in corner. Small bathroom with shower. Nothing fancy but clean and comfortable enough. More importantly, offers place lay low. Far from anyone might be looking for me. Step back outside. Walter waiting in his truck. Hop in, he says. I'll give you tour of place. We drive around ranch. Spans nearly 7,000 acres. Most of it about 6,000 acres flat land. Ideal for grazing cattle. Couple hundred acres reserved for growing winter feed. Back part of ranch, though, is hilly and forested. Leads right up into mountains. Stream cuts through property. Accessible only on horseback. Beautiful rugged piece of land. But Clear Ranch has seen better days. Walter explains used to have 3 full-time ranch hands. Benjamin only 1 left after hard times hit. Benjamin been with him nearly 35 years. They brought in extra help during roundups, or when time to send stock to market. After finishing tour, Walter drops me off at cabin. By way, I noticed you've got laptop, he says. We've got satellite internet here. Can connect wirelessly. Supper's at 6 in main house. Thank him as he drives off, leaving me to settle in. In less than 30 minutes, have things unpacked. Laptop up and running. Sure enough, able connect to internet. Quickly check emails. One message from Oliver stands out. Christine reported me missing. Police started investigating. Not much of surprise. Gives me something to think about. Oliver, only one who knows I left. Even he doesn't know where headed. Already mailed resignation to former employer. Hadn't told anyone in person was leaving. Wanted to make sure no one could track me back. Just before 6, head over to main house. Knock on door. Walter calls for me come in. Step inside. Find Eleanor in kitchen prepping dinner. Walter standing nearby talking to another man. Figure man talking to Walter is Benjamin. Walter waves me over with grin. Benjamin, this is Daniel. New hand I mentioned? At least for today. We'll see how he feels after putting in day's work. He chuckles as introduces us. Benjamin gives friendly smile. Extends his hand. He's big guy standing at least 6'3". Like Walter. He looks like someone spent entire life working hard. Also around same age as Walter. Maybe little older. One thing stands out. Benjamin is African American, which isn't common these parts. Shake his hand immediately, feeling strength and grip. Well, young man, let's hope you like it here. We could sure use help, he says with chuckle. At 31, probably about half his age. Understand why he calls me young. Smile and reply plan. Give it my best shot. Just then, Eleanor calls us over, announcing supper ready. Walter and Eleanor take spots at either end of table, leaving Benjamin and me sit in middle across from each other. Table laid out with platter of roasted chicken. Heaping bowl mashed potatoes. Fresh green beans from garden. Stack of homemade buttermilk biscuits. We don't do fancy here, Daniel. But there's plenty and it's filling, Eleanor says with smile. Looks great, I replied, genuinely impressed. As we dig in, ask Walter if lived on ranch all his life. Yep, he says with nod. My grandfather started this ranch. Passed it on to my father. Now it's ours. Eleanor's and mine. Although back when I was younger, wasn't so sure she was going to be part of it. Had to fight off every man in town to win her. He glances at Eleanor. Can see love in his eyes. They have that kind connection you don't see too often? Oh, Walter, Eleanor says, playfully rolling her eyes. You know you're only man I ever had eyes for? Just had make sure you wanted me enough put in work. Walter smiles at her, then turns to me. She's been responsible for 3 happiest days of my life. Day she agreed marry me. Day we got married. Day she gave birth to our daughter Olivia. Haven't seen any sign of daughter around. Eleanor must catch curious look on face, because she chimes in. Olivia's away at moment, finishing her doctorate in veterinary science at South Dakota State University. Only gets home for holidays these days. But we're counting down days until she's back home for good. Degree in hand. Should be back in couple months, Walter adds proudly. Be nice have vet and family. Cut down on some of those vet bills. After dinner, offer help clear dishes. But Eleanor waves me away, insisting it's her job. She's woman who clearly enjoys taking care of her home. Breakfast is at 5:30 and we start work at 6 sharp. Walter mentions as Benjamin and I stand up leave. As heading out spot copy of today's Wall Street Journal on kitchen counter. Likely picked up by Walter when went into town. Ask if can borrow front page. He nods. Once outside, invite Benjamin step into my cabin for minute. Inside, pull out digital camera. Ask him snap picture of me holding up front page newspaper. He clearly curious but doesn't pry. Instead asks if need alarm clock for early start. Assure him all set. After Benjamin leaves, upload photo to computer. Draft email to police department in Phoenix. Message is simple. I'm alive, well, and left town voluntarily, using Wall Street Journal rather than local paper. En surlocation romain ambiguous. Send email to Oliver. Give instructions, forward it from coffee shop with free Wi-Fi. Provide work email and password. No, probably still active. That way, police won't be able to trace whereabouts. Hope they won't waste resources looking for runaway husband. Satisfied with plan shutdown computer. Get ready for bed. Sleep soundly that night, knowing covered tracks well. Next morning up by 5 o'clock, showered and dressed. In time, walk with Benjamin over to main house for breakfast. After breakfast, Walter tells Benjamin put me work. Replacing fence posts in hilly part of property. Following Benjamin to barn. He points out horse I'll be using. Big brown mare. Seems pleased with how I saddle her. Experience from Uncle's ranch coming handy. Then prepare 2 mules, packing them with fence posts and post hole digger. Walter joins us at barn, carrying Winchester Model 70 and saddle scabbard. Explains mainly for rare occasion. Might need put down sick cow. Once ready, Benjamin and I mount up, each leading mule. Head out following creek into hills. As we ride, strike up conversation. Find myself opening up to him. Trust Benjamin won't betray confidence. Share story of how ended up in Wyoming. In turn, Benjamin tells about his own past. Married right out of high school, only to catch wife in bed with another man. In fit of rage, nearly beat guy to death. Earned him 5-year prison sentence. After getting out, Walter only one willing give chance. Been working on ranch ever since. Nearly 35 years. Benjamin speaks of Walter and Eleanor with deep respect, calling them salt of earth people. Can tell working on ranch been more than just job for him. Been his second chance. After about half-hour reach property line, marked by long stretch fence. Benjamin points out won't need replace every post. Just one's rotting or on way out, which ends up being about every 3rd post. Stays with me as replace first couple posts, making sure know what doing. Once satisfied, suggests work until about 4 o'clock. So have enough time to tend animals. Be back for dinner at 6 o'clock. His parting advice, follow stream back downhill. Just in case get turned around. With that, Benjamin heads off, leaving me alone with task. Work is tough but settle into rhythm. Replacing one post after another. Around noon, take break. Pull out grilled chicken sandwiches Eleanor packed. After quick lunch, get back to it. Watch beeps at 4 o'clock, signaling end of day. Realize managed replace all but couple posts we brought up. Leading mules trace way back along fence line, until find creek, then follow it downhill. Just before leave tree line, stumble upon natural pool, where stream flows in and out. Scene is breathtaking. Easily most beautiful peaceful spot seen on ranch. Pause for moment taking it all in. Before continuing back to barn, once they're unsaddle horse and mules, make sure they fed. As finishing up, Benjamin comes in. Bed down his own horse. Exchange few words, both of us worn out from day, then rush clean up before dinner. That night have grilled steaks. Although too tired say much. Enjoy meal thoroughly. Excuse myself early. Head straight to bed. Sleep comes quickly. Sleep like rock. Next morning, wake up sore from head to toe. Hands ache from digging post holes. Arms, shoulders, and legs all throbbing. No amount gym workouts could have prepared me for full body exhaustion from long day manual labor. As limp into kitchen and sit down. Catch few chuckles from Walter and Benjamin. Even Eleanor tries hide her grin. Despite soreness appetite in overdrive, devour breakfast with enthusiasm. Ready for another day of fencing? Walter asks as finish eating. Groan trying sound more positive than feel. Yes, sir. Walter laughs. I think you've earned break from that today. Why don't you ride rounds with Benjamin? Nod grateful for change of pace. First job of day is clean out stalls. Replace hay. Once horses and mules turned out into pasture. Feeders all filled. Load up into truck for daily ranch inspection. Main goal check on cattle. Make sure none got separated from calves or in trouble. Benjamin's knowledge of land impressive. After 35 years, he can practically predict where cattle will be without thinking. Rattles off rough head counts as we make way across ranch. Barely needs binoculars survey herd. As reach far end of property, Benjamin brings truck to stop. Scans horizon intently. Something catches his attention on one of hills. Hands me binoculars. Points out specific spot. Squint through lenses. Finally see what he looking at. 2 calves standing alone. Where are their mothers? Benjamin gestures toward tree line. Those 2 cows over there? Looks like calves wandered off. Got themselves lost. We'll have to herd them back down. Are we hiking all way up there? Ask, glancing at distance to calves. Benjamin chuckles. Nope, that's too far on foot. We'll head back, grab some horses. Using 2-way radio and truck? Benjamin calls Walter. Let him know what found. That we'd be swinging by barn gear up by time we get there. Walter already saddled 2 horses, loaded them into trailer. Ready to go. Just gather supplies. Within minutes, back on road. Benjamin navigates truck to base of hills. Just below tree line were spotted calves. After unloading horses, we mount up. Ride into hills. Benjamin leading way. With kind of confidence comes from decades experience. Like he can read land without thinking. About half hour later, ease up behind calves. Begin gently herding them back down. Toward their mothers? As soon as clear trees. Little ones see their moms, bolt crying and rushing straight to them. Moment they reach mothers, immediately latch on nursing hungrily, while older cows stand still patiently waiting. Find myself grinning at scene, something wholesome about it. Something stands in stark contrast to chaos of my own upbringing. Watching those calves with their mothers feels almost therapeutic in way. That evening, sit down to hearty supper. Roast beef, corn on cob, mashed potatoes. Have shaken off exhaustion from previous days. Feel more like myself. Join in conversation at table. Learn more about Eleanor's background. Her family immigrated from Scotland when just 5 years old. Her father, inspired by Story's American frontier, had uprooted them to Wyoming, which explained faint Scottish accent still lingered. Though she'd been raised in States, her roots clearly important to her. Next morning, feel well enough, dive back into fence work. After breakfast, Benjamin helps load up mules, this time ride out alone. Follow stream just like before, leads directly to spot where left off. Work goes more smoothly now. Figured out few tricks make things easier. By 4 o'clock have set final post. Make way back to barn with some time spare. Decide get ahead on some chores. Clean out few stalls before heading wash up for dinner. On 4th day, Benjamin and I spend morning repairing ranch buildings, patching up roofs, reinforcing structures seen better days. Following day back at fences. Getting into rhythm makes time fly by. Next 2 months pass in blur. Settled into daily routine. Even taking turns with Benjamin checking cattle. Never been in better shape. Body adjusted to physical demands ranch life. Find myself thriving in simplicity of it all. We establish rhythm on ranch. Benjamin takes Saturdays off. Walter has Sundays. Mondays become my day off. Use those free days, take care laundry. Run into town for supplies. Or just catch breath. Over time, grown fond of folks on ranch. Benjamin laid back and easy get along with. After supper, often sit and talk. Swapping stories or just enjoying quiet evening. Walter earned my respect. He's straightforward, hardworking. Knows how run his ranch well. Eleanor's sweet, always making sure we fed. Looked after but beneath gentle exterior. Their fire in her. Can see she not someone back down easily. Ranch life isn't easy, but kinda tough I can handle. For first time in long time, feel like we're supposed to be. Together, Eleanor and Walter make perfect pair. Can tell just by watching them interact. That Friday morning at breakfast, they particularly excited. Eleanor announces their daughter Olivia coming home in week. It's my turn that day ride through wooded section. Checking for any cattle wandered into hills. Around 4 in afternoon reach stream. Decide follow it down. Come across pool beneath waterfall. Peaceful spot discovered earlier. Stop, dismount, and remove shirt. Kneeling by water. Cold stream feels incredible. Dip bandana in. Use it wipe sweat and dust from face and neck. Suddenly hear sound of hooves from downstream. Look over spot rider approaching. First think might be Eleanor. Quickly realize this younger version of her. Woman riding toward me has same striking red hair. Same crystal blue eyes. Has to be Olivia. She rides up, stops few feet away. Her expression cold as winter. Who are you and what doing here? She asks, tone sharp as knife. Stand up, wipe hands on jeans. Name's Daniel, I work here. She narrows eyes, clearly not buying it. I don't believe you. My dad told me couldn't afford hire anyone else. Despite how beautiful she is, her attitude starting get under skin. Yeah, heard that too, I reply. My tone little sharper. I guess that's why I laugh all way to bank every payday. She gives look of disbelief. Turns her horse around with swift kick. Rides off without another word. Chuckle to myself. Shake head, put shirt back on. Mount up, head back toward barn. Later find out been miscommunication. Between Olivia and her parents, they expected her back following week. To their surprise, she'd shown up that very day. Just couple hours after I'd headed out. After spending morning and early afternoon catching up with her folks, she decided go for ride. Something hadn't had much time for while in school. Apparently waterfall one of her favorite spots. When get back to barn, catch glimpse of her red hair disappearing inside. Dismount, leading horse into barn. From sound of her raised voice, she found her father. Who is that man up at waterfall? She demands loud enough for me here. Brief pause. Can practically see Walter thinking it over. That'd be Daniel, he answers. She isn't satisfied. He said he works here. But last time home you said couldn't afford hire anyone. Walter's voice remains calm. He's right, he does work here. As for what he gets paid, don't think that's any of your business. I still run this ranch, young lady. Olivia sputters, but he said you pay him so much that he laughs all way to bank. By that point had entered barn. Walter spots me, gives me grin. Is that true, Daniel? If you think you're overpaid, I can fix that. Olivia spins around, locking eyes with me, clearly fuming. Take off my hat, scratch back of head. Reply, well, Walter wouldn't want to take advantage of you. Just how much you thinking of cutting my pay? At that, Walter and I burst into laughter. Olivia, however, isn't amused. Just stands there glaring at both of us. Sweetheart, Walter says, tone softening. Just so you know, Daniel stays in cabin next to Benjamin. Olivia crosses her arms. And what else? That's it, Walter replies. Well, that, and he gets to enjoy your mother's fine cooking. Olivia isn't letting it go. So you're saying you're not paying him? Why would he work for nothing? Walter shrugs shoulders. He has his reasons. Not my place, tell you. I chip in, trying lighten mood. Honestly, getting eat your mom's cooking is payment enough. I don't think she'd appreciate you implying it's worth nothing. Olivia shoots me one final glare. Storms out of barn. Walter shakes head and chuckles. She's got that same fire her mother had when we were younger. Sometimes wonder how ever convinced Eleanor marry me. That evening, Olivia joins us for supper. Sits next to Benjamin on opposite side of table. When walk into kitchen, she gives me another sharp look. Decide play it cool. Wait until everyone served themselves. Before speak with pleasant smile. Your mom mentioned you finished doctorate in veterinary medicine. That's quite accomplishment. Yes, she replies curtly, without looking up from plate. Undeterred, continue. Benjamin tells me there's only one other vet in area. He's over 40 miles away. You're going to be a huge asset to this community. She glances up at that, her expression softening just little. That would be Dr. Mitchell, she says. He's swamped with work, more than he can handle most days. Eleanor chimes in, smiling proudly. I agree with you, Daniel. Our Olivia's going to be great help around here. For rest of meal, Olivia sticks to chatting with her parents and Benjamin, who've been working on ranch since before she born. She doesn't speak to me directly. I mostly keep quiet, letting conversation flow around me. Olivia just come back home. Know her parents along with Benjamin eager catch up on everything she'd been up to while away. After finishing meal, excuse myself. Head back to my cabin. Once settled in, check email. Notice message from Oliver. He casually asked friend on police force if I still considered missing. Friend reassured him case been dropped. Once authorities got email with picture I sent. Seemed I off radar now. As for Christine, her life taken downturn. Victor dumped her moment found out. I vanished with money. From looks of it, she wasn't going to see any of it soon. She couldn't afford rent on house we used share. Had downsized to cramped apartment in city. Working as waitress. Without money for lawyer. No way of coming after me. Ironic, she probably married me for my money. Turned out Victor only wanted her for same thing. In end, they both chasing something wasn't theirs. Lately been working on replacing fence posts. Though only doing it every third or fourth day. Moved down from hills. Now can drive pickup directly to where work. Lot easier loading posts into truck bed, rather than onto mules. Day after Olivia returned. Fill truck with posts. Drive out to where last left off. By lunchtime, realize forgotten my meal. Usually, Eleanor makes sure we have something packed. If going be out all day, guess spaced out and left mine behind. Driving back feels like more effort than worth. Figure missing one meal won't hurt. About half hour later, just as securing post. Hear sound of truck approaching. Turn around, see one ranch vehicle stop few feet away. To surprise, Olivia gets out, holding small paper sack, like ones Eleanor used for our lunches. Mama said you forgot your lunch, she says, thrusting bag toward me without ceremony. Take it from her with nod. Thanks, Olivia. That was nice of you. Opening bag, find 2 sandwiches inside. Offer her one, but she shakes head. So sit on tailgate of truck. Start eating. She stands nearby, arms crossed. Just watching me as take bite after bite. Silence stretches, but don't mind. Keep eyes on horizon. After a few minutes, she breaks quiet. What are you even doing here? Decide have little fun. You can't tell anyone. But robbed bank? Laying low here until heat dies down. Her eyes widen in surprise, before narrowing as glares at me. You're not funny, she snaps, turning head back to truck. Wait until she halfway there. Before calling out to her, she stops, then slowly turns around. I married woman who never cared about me. All she wanted was things I could give her. Came out here because needed get away from everything for a while. Olivia studies me for a moment. Her gaze sharp, but this time can tell she believes me. After brief pause, gives small nod. Heads back to truck without another word. Watch her drive away. Remember what her dad said about her mother, that she'd been just as fiery when younger. He claimed he had tamed her, but figured it was love that done real work, even though only known Olivia for day. Doubt any man could truly tame that spirit. That night dinner went much like previous evening. Olivia chatted with her parents and Benjamin. While I stayed mostly in background, wasn't that felt out of place? Just didn't really have anything in common. She barely knew me. We lived in different worlds. As we finishing up, there's knock at door. Walter gets up to answer it. Returns with tall, dark-haired man around my age. Has that classic tall, dark, handsome look. Women seem fall for... Olivia's face lights up when sees him. Leaps from seat calling his name, before wrapping arms around him and hug. They clearly have history. Moments later, another knock comes. Walter brings in another man. This one blonde, but just as striking. Olivia greets him with same enthusiasm. Think back to what Walter told me about winning his wife. How he had fended off nearly every man around. Watching Olivia can see why. She every bit as beautiful as her mother. Excuse myself and head back to cabin. Thinking about how lucky one those guys would be. If they managed winter heart, next morning take pickup. Make usual rounds across ranch. Something feels off though, like there are fewer cattle than usual. Nags at me enough. Go back and grab Benjamin. Together we do quick tour of ranch. Sure enough, both feel like missing few herds. Decide saddle up next morning. Ride out check hill country. Over dinner, mention plan to Walter. He agrees worth shot. That night, rain comes down hard, making tracking next day even more challenging. Still by morning, load up horses into trailer. Walter drives us to one end of property. Ready start search. I ride up about third way into tree line, while Benjamin climbs higher, covering upper section. Together, move across ranch, through hills and dense clusters trees. By time reach far side of property, most of day slipped away. Manage round up 5 stray herds. As come down from hills, Walter meets us with trailer. Load up horses, then head back ranch, discussing what could be done. End up agreeing staying more vigilant, only real option. That evening during dinner, Olivia has yet another suitor come knocking. Overhear Eleanor grumbling under breath. Third guy call on her that day. Clearly, word spread that Olivia back. Seems every eligible man in area. Crawling out woodwork try his luck. Next 4 days spent keeping close eye on herd. Apart from original losses, everything seems normal again. Olivia's admirers continue stop by. But she hasn't exchanged more than couple words with me since day she brought lunch. Then 5 days after cattle seemed vanish. Tell Walter want check property line running through hills. Already gone over fence lines around pasture. Haven't seen any signs breached there. Benjamin drops me off at Western Edge Ranch, near border with Harrison's land. About halfway to southwest corner, something catches my eye. 3 fresh sets horse tracks, crossing from Harrison Ranch over onto Walter's side. What puzzles me is fence still up and intact. Dismount inspect posts. Notice staples been loosened on 5 of them. They barely holding wire in place. Sneaky trick. Loosen staples. Drop wire cross. Then put back. Everything looks normal. Remount and follow tracks further. Until reach stream near waterfall. They're tied to tree are 3 horses, about 30 yards away. Quickly dismount again. Tie my horse to tree. Pull rifle from scabbard. Moving cautiously follow trail boot prints. That lead downstream. When reach edge waterfall and peer over. What see stops me dead in tracks. There in pool beneath falls is Olivia. Naked as day she born. Gliding through water like most natural thing world. Her bare skin shimmers in sunlight. As she moves effortlessly through water. Can't help but stare for a moment. Taken aback by sight of her. Damn, she has body could stop traffic. But rustle in trees snaps me out of it. Quickly scan area. See one guy to right, while 2 others creep toward pool from left. Without hesitating raise rifle. Fire bullet hits ground near feet of man on right. One more shot kicks up dirt next to 2 on left. Olivia lets out scream. So loud it echoes through hills. Stand up making sure they can all see me. Shout on your bellies! I won't miss next shot. Olivia, stay where you are. She hadn't seen men yet. Just me standing there with rifle, aimed toward trees. In her panic scrambles cover herself, clearly confused about what happening. One of guys on left makes move like going run. Fire again, this time hitting bark tree right next to him. He freezes, then drops ground. Olivia, now realizing there are others, screams again louder this time. Start counting down. Before even get to one, 2 other men flung themselves ground. Hands behind your heads, I order, voice booming through clearing. Slowly they comply. Turn to Olivia, tell her. Get out water and get dressed. She tries argue, voice shaky. Cut her off growling. Just do what I say and get dressed now. She trembling, scared out mind. But does his ask? Stepping out pool water dripping off her. Looks like some sort goddess rising from depths. Even though keeps back to me. Can't take eyes off her. Her alabaster skin. Perfect curve her body, especially hips. Something no never forget. Quickly pulls on jeans and shirt. Not bothering with anything else. Then with one swift motion, swings onto her horse. Kicks it into motion. Disappears into trees, leaving nothing but sound hoofbeats echoing behind her. Order each of men one by one get up, then lie back down. Only when all 3 spread out before me. Let out breath of relief. Time for bluff, I think? So what am I going to do with you 3? Say tilting rifle slightly. I could just shoot you in legs. Watch you bleed out. Panic sets in. 3 men immediately start begging mercy. I continue. Even if let you live. Olivia's father will see justice served. When tell him what you planning do to his daughter. Unless I pause letting wait words hang. Unless you've got more interesting confession for sheriff. Something like cattle rustling. Might land you some jail time. But least you'll have chance at life. Smallest of group cracks first. His voice trembling. Yes, we did it. Harrison told us breaking Anderson would secure his land. One of others shoved him. Hissing for him shut up. But small man stood ground. I ain't dying for no damn cows. Expecting Olivia's swift return. Knowing Walter investigates soon. Decide by some time. Sure enough, 45 minutes later, Walter and Benjamin come riding up in distance. Wave them over. They gallop up, meet me on ridge. What hell's going on here, Walter demands as dismounts. Looks like had some unwelcome visitors from Harrison Ranch, I reply. Tracked them from fence line to here. They were sneaking up on Olivia while swimming. Walk over to smallest 3. Press barrel rifle against his neck. This one has something he'd like confess. Prodded by fear, man whimpers. We did it. We took some of your cattle. But it was Harrison who made us. Walter pushes hat back, casting glance at Benjamin. You know when my grandfather ran this place. They used hang horse thieves and cattle rustlers. Justice was a lot simpler back then. Too bad we've got to be civilized these days. With Benjamin standing guard, Walter and I decide march rustlers back ranch, trail them with rifles in hand, while Benjamin tethers their horses, brings up rear. Once get back lead rustlers into barn, putting each them in separate stalls. Where can keep watch without them seeing each other? Walter goes into house call sheriff, while Benjamin and I stand watch. Less than half hour, sheriff pulls up long drive. Walter briefs him on what happened. I suggest bring smallest one out first for questioning. Sheriff agrees. When haul little rustler outside. He hesitant at first. Doesn't take long before fear gets better him. Starts spill everything. Sheriff looks at Walter, shaking head. Looks like clear case trespassing here. Honestly, this feels like waste my time. But if you want, can leave them in your hands. Pretend didn't see anything. Hearing that rustler's eyes go wide, he quickly spills full story. Sheriff, realizing this bigger than trespassing, calls for backup. Soon convoy law enforcement vehicles streaming onto Harrison's ranch. Despite its size, Sheriff's team able pinpoint location. Rustlers described. By day's end, they'd found nearly 100 stolen cattle, all branded with Thunder Valley mark. Harrison and his crew locked up before supper time. After 9 p.m., when finally all sit down eat, Olivia keeps eyes glued to plate, barely speaking word. Walter finally breaks silence, addressing her directly. What were you doing out there, Olivia? She shrugs, replies. I was just taking swim. Didn't think anyone would be spying on me. She shoots cold glare my way. Decide set things straight. First off, Olivia, I wasn't spying on you. I followed their tracks from fence line to stream. Secondly, you should consider what might happen. If I hadn't shown up, doubt those 3 planning picnic when they saw you swimming like that? Eleanor shakes head, her voice full relief. Thank God you were there, Daniel. Hate think what could happen. Conversation shifts after that. We quickly finish dinner, knowing have early start next day. As heading out toward cabin, Olivia's voice rings out calling me back. Stop waiting as she catches up, but look on her face isn't one gratitude. So she snaps, did you enjoy view today? Should known expecting thank you was too much ask. Sigh, looking her dead in eye. Let's just say I'd be lying if told you it wasn't breathtaking. Her eyes flash with irritation. She turns on heel, stomping off toward house. Stand there for a moment, shaking head. Something about me really gets under her skin. Can't quite figure out what it is. Next day, Walter has head into town. Officially file charges against Harrison and crew. Sorting out return of stolen cattle take few days. Since prosecutor needs document everything, meanwhile, Benjamin and I spend day repainting some old outbuildings. Have lunch in kitchen. But Olivia decides skip meal. Just as well far as I concerned. Walter returns early afternoon. Holds off until dinner, fill us in on latest developments. Explains since this isn't capital case, Harrison and crew been released on bail, while Walter isn't expecting more trouble from them. Warns us stay on guard just in case. Then with teasing grin glances at Olivia. If you're planning another skinny dip, you might want take Daniel along for protection, he jokes. Olivia's face turns bright red. She sputters in shock before bolting from table, heading straight for her room. Sets Walter and Benjamin off into fits laughter. Even Eleanor can't help but giggle. Chuckle along with them, shaking head. Once laughter dies down, get back to meal. Though Walter can't resist keeping up teasing. Daniel got say you've been worth every penny. Harrison's scheme could really hurt us financially. You saved ranch. We all shared another laugh. Appreciating moment relief. After all recent chaos. 3 days later, get all clear, retrieve stolen cattle. Walter, Benjamin, and I load 3 horses into trailer. With sheriff's escort drive over to Harrison Flying Circle Ranch. Eleanor comes along drive truck and trailer back. Once unload horses, 3 of us herd cattle back toward Thunder Valley. I ride ahead, loosen section fence. Let cows through. Once all safely across secure fence, head back to house feeling satisfied. With solid day's work? During this time, Olivia applied for veterinarian license, though approval process take around 45 days. For now, limited to tending animals on her father's ranch. Spot her working around property or during meals. She still isn't talking to me, but whenever catch her eye, give her big grin and raise eyebrows, which always makes her blush. 2 weeks after waterfall incident, find ourselves in barn together. Unable resist ask. Been enjoying any more swims lately? Olivia stops in tracks, shoots me glare. Why are you such an ass? Shrug smiling. Why are you such a Before it could finish, she swings right hand at me, aiming for face. Catch her wrist just in time. She tries with left hand, but grab that too, pinning both arms behind her back. Pull her against me, lower face toward hers, holding her gaze. She doesn't pull away. If you were mine, I'd put you over my knee, spank that attitude right out of you. I murmur. Her eyes flash as she struggles. You wouldn't dare. Without warning, release her. She stumbles back, landing square on her backside. It's not that I wouldn't dare, I say. I just don't have time for another woman. Who doesn't care about me? This time me who turns and walks out, leaving her sitting in dirt. That night cross paths again at supper. But she doesn't say word. There's look in her eyes though, one I couldn't quite place. Not that I've ever claimed to understand women. My experience with Christine was proof enough of that. Next day working in barn, tending to stalls. When Walter walks in, it's his day off. So no, he wasn't there for work. Wonder if Olivia told him what happened. If he about asked me leave. Stop what doing as he approaches. Walter gets straight to point. I heard you and Olivia had bit of showdown yesterday. So she had told him. There's glint in his eye though, so just shrug. Yeah, you could say that. Probably my fault. Walter chuckles. Maybe, maybe not. Think Olivia's biggest issue is she doesn't know how to figure you out? First, she thought you just passing through. Then you became guy who saved her in ranch. Now she's confused because you're not chasing after her. Like rest young men around here. He pauses, smiling little. She's used to guys falling all over themselves for her. She's had boyfriends, but none them stuck. Don't think she respected any of them. Just don't let her run you off. You're welcome here as long as want stay. Thanks, Walter, I appreciate that. I'll try lay off teasing her. Maybe we can find some peace. Walter nods and leaves barn. Spend rest of day thinking about what he said. If Olivia really wanted to understand me, maybe talking to me like civilized person would help more than her constant glares. As for chasing her like others, that just wasn't happening. She doesn't show up for supper that night, but no one says word about it. And I don't ask. Next morning, stick to routine. Even though my day off, up at 5 a.m. as always. Have breakfast after Walter and Benjamin left for work. Then go about taking care laundry. Walter invested in large commercial washer and dryer. Means can toss all clothes into single load. Laundry room conveniently next to kitchen. So while clothes getting cleaned, sit at table with Eleanor, enjoying breakfast and chatting. Olivia walks in. Something she rarely does this early, as usually prefers eat later in morning. Eleanor asks what have planned for day. Tell her thinking about driving into town. Then ask if she needs me pick up anything for her. If you don't mind, she says, there are couple things I could use. Assure her don't mind at all. Just then Olivia, who'd been standing quietly nearby, suddenly chimes in. Could I ride into town with you? Planning go to general store for few things. Seems like waste of gas for us both drive separately. Surprised look up. After our little showdown yesterday, wasn't expecting her want go anywhere with me. Still smile and say sure. Be happy give you lift. I'll be ready, she says, offering quick nod before sitting down at table. I'll leave in about hour and a half. Once my laundry's done and put away, I add. She doesn't say much else after that, sitting quietly while Eleanor and I continue conversation. Later, as step out of cabin, Olivia appears from back door, wearing turquoise sundress. That highlights her fiery red hair. She looks stunning. Clear she wants me notice. Hold passenger door open for her. Watching as slides gracefully into seat. We drive off in silence. For first half trip, with her quietly gazing out at countryside. Suddenly she breaks silence. I thought you were going kiss me yesterday. Glance over at her. But she looking outside window, so can't see her expression. Well, I say after moment, while that might not have been unpleasant, I have rule about not forcing unwanted affections on unreceptive women. Out corner of eye see her whip head around, staring at me intently. She doesn't respond, but keeps sneaking glances in my direction. For rest of drive, when arrive at general store, go our separate ways. Need some new jeans and shirts, while Olivia picks up list items her mother requested. After about hour, we load everything into SUV. Still have stop at hardware store for couple things Walter needs. But by then it's lunchtime, and I'm starving. How about we grab something to eat, I suggest. She agrees. We end up at same diner, where first met Walter and Eleanor. Sit across from each other, silence growing heavier by minute. Begin wonder if should have just skipped lunch. Headed straight to hardware store. Just as thinking that, door swings open. 3 guys walk in. 2 them I recognize. They among group men. Been courting Olivia since she came back. Without hesitation, they make beeline for our table. 2 them sit down on either side of her, while third stands behind me, ignoring my presence completely. Immediately start chatting her up. Clearly pleased to have her attention. Stand up motion guy behind me. Take my seat. Move to next table. When waitress brings our food, wave her over. Have my meal placed in front me. Eat quickly, not paying attention to conversation happening at Olivia's table. After finishing, toss some bills on table cover our meals. stand up and say to Olivia, I'm heading over hardware store. I'll swing back by here later. If you're ready, go. Interrupting conversation. She suddenly pushes plate away. Stands up, addresses guys. It was nice seeing you again, but we've got go. They try protest. One even offering her ride home, but she declines. Follows me out to SUV. As we drive to hardware store, she remains silent, clearly fuming. Tension between us thick as we make way back ranch. Finally, she can't hold in any longer. Why did you do that? Do what I ask, honestly confused. Move to other table, she replies all huffy. Well, I say keeping eyes on road. You seem enjoy their company. Didn't want get in middle their competition. For your attention. You really are an ass, she snaps. Wisely decide keep mouth shut. Don't want deal with any more slaps, especially while driving. When pull up to main house, she immediately grabs what can carry. Soon as open rear of SUV, pick up rest and follow her inside. She drops bags on kitchen table. Without word to her mother, then storms off to her room. Eleanor looks at me, raising eyebrow in question. Shrug my shoulders. I guess I'm an ass, I say. She chuckles, walking over, placing hand on my arm. I've never seen anyone have effect on Olivia that you do. Guess I was just born piss her off, I say, shrugging. I'm not so sure about that, Eleanor replies, leaving me bit confused. After our conversation, return to cabin. Put away new clothes. Don't feel like staying cooped up. Head to barn, saddle horse and ride out. Eventually find myself at top of waterfall. Weather pleasant. So tie horse to nearby tree. Sit at edge looking down at calm pool below. Must have sat there at least half hour, maybe longer lost in thought. That's when Olivia rides up. She dismounts near pool, not wanting her think spying on her again, especially after last time. Toss rock into water. Splash catches her attention. She looks around until spots me, instead riding off like expected. She mounts horse again. Makes way uphill to where I am. Ties her horse next to mine. Walks toward me. Stand up moving away from edge few steps. Just in case she has any ideas about pushing me over. You're an ass, she says, stopping inches from me. And you're still a bitch, I shoot back. But this time don't wait for her slap. Instead, wrap arm around her waist. Kiss her. Let go quickly. Try step toward my horse. But before could move, she grabs my arm, pulling me back. To my surprise, she reaches behind my neck. Kisses me again. This time it's different. Passion takes over. Before long, our clothes disappeared. We caught up in moment, lost in each other. It was everything hadn't expected, but somehow wanted. Eventually, our breathing slowed. Lay there in each other's embrace. Saying nothing, got dressed, mounted our horses, rode back down trail in silence. After stabling horses, Olivia walks off toward main house. Without word, I make way back to cabin dazed, slip into shower. Let water wash away thoughts racing through mind. One thing clear though, had much stronger feelings for Olivia than ever admitted to myself. Barely have time dressed before supper. Walk into kitchen. Walter, Eleanor, and Benjamin already seated, but Olivia nowhere be seen. As take our seats, she enters room, choosing chair beside mine. Instead, usual spot next to Benjamin. Walter and Eleanor exchange glances. Neither say word. Olivia, on other hand, in unusually high spirits, chatting animatedly throughout dinner. Her parents seem curious, but refrain from asking any questions. After supper, Olivia helps mother clean up kitchen, while Benjamin and I head back our cabins, just settling into bed. Soft knock comes at door. Clad only in boxers, open it. Olivia slips inside, finding way into my arms. We share a tender kiss. Before she guides me back to bed, once again our clothes fall away. Make love before drifting off sleep. In each other's arms. Abrupt sound alarm at 5 a.m. stirs me from sleep. Groggy, reach over, silence it. Reluctantly ease myself out bed. Dress quietly. Leave gentle kiss on Olivia's forehead. Before slipping out cabin. At breakfast, can't help notice way. Walter and Eleanor keep glancing at me. Wonder if they know where daughter spent night. After breakfast, load up pickup. For another day, setting fence posts. Working alone on ranch gives plenty time, think. Mind wanders a lot. Hard believe only 3 months passed since left Christine. Feels like entire lifetime. Think about Walter, Eleanor, and Benjamin. About how much they've come mean to me. In such short time, then thoughts turn to Olivia. To everything happened day before. Wonder if possible find kind love her parents have. As lunchtime approaches, realize forgotten pack meal. Just as thought crosses mind, hear sound pickup approaching. Olivia jumps out running toward me, bag in hand, throws arms around me, kisses me passionately. Before handing me bag, ignoring food, pull her in for another kiss. This one just as heated as before. Although don't get many fence posts set that day. Did find time set post of my own. Couple times over. Between moments passion we find time talk. Tell her more about my past. About how ex-wife betrayed me. Only way I'll leave, I assure her, is if you tell me go. Eventually Olivia heads back home. I finish up work for day. After shower and change clothes, walk into kitchen, find her already there. again choosing seat beside me. Halfway through meal, there's knock at door. Walter gets up, answer it. When returns accompanied by same guy, who'd been first call on Olivia once she got back. Once he sits down, Olivia gives him look I couldn't quite read. I was wondering if you'd like go for drive, he asks. Around here, going for drive was code for date. Appreciate offer, but don't think my boyfriend would like it, Olivia says smoothly. Then, without missing beat, leans over, plants quick kiss on my cheek. Mr. Tall, dark, handsome turns beet red, stammering something before making hasty exit. With that one simple gesture, our relationship officially out and open. Glance over at Walter and Eleanor, both them smiling in approval. Even Benjamin couldn't help but grin. Olivia and I now official couple. Days of local men calling on her were over. She made it clear no longer available. In following days, find way help Olivia with her plans. She try and get loan from bank, purchase equipment for veterinary business, but bank hesitant approve unsecured loan. Only options seemed to be using her father's ranch as collateral. But she reluctant ask him for that. Tell her give me couple days, might have solution. Contact my offshore bank. Set up account under name fictitious loan company. Olivia fills out loan application on my computer. Which route to my email? After few days, send her notice. Loan been approved. Funds wired to her account. She thrilled but little suspicious. Of incredibly low 2% interest rate. Explain loan comes from non-profit organization. That offers low rates to people. They believe will contribute to community. Weil could have just given her money outright. No, Olivia too proud to accept it that way. She worked hard, earn her degree. Was determined to succeed on own terms. By time her veterinary license approved, she purchased brand new van, fully equipped with everything needed, run mobile vet clinic. Word spread quickly. Soon local ranchers calling for her services. Olivia spent many nights at my cabin, although Walter and Eleanor well aware, they didn't seem mind. At 27, Olivia old enough make own decisions. Her parents respected that. 3 months later, Harrison and his crew finally faced trial. Straightforward case. Smallest member group cooperated with prosecution. Got 2 years probation. Other 5 men who worked for Harrison were sentenced 5 years in prison each. As for Harrison himself, he received maximum sentence, 10 years and $75,000 fine. With him behind bars, decided dig deeper into his situation. Learned he had no family, no one left run his ranch. Given all his hands now in prison, this presented opportunity. However, before could move forward with that plan. Had unfinished business take care of. My divorce. Thought of Christine getting half my money. Something couldn't stomach. So reached out to Oliver once again, asking for his help. This time instead, emailing called him. Asked him speak directly to Christine. Wanted him offer her settlement, $50,000 in exchange for divorce. If she declined, would never contact her again. She wouldn't get sent. At first, she played innocent. Demanding know why had left. Why wouldn't come back? Charade ended quickly. When Oliver revealed I knew about her affair with Victor, her plan divorced me. With her secret out, still struggling financially, she accepted offer. Now had her agreement. Needed return to Phoenix, finalized divorce papers. Olivia wasn't thrilled when told her I'd be leaving for bit, but explained needed close that chapter in my life. She insisted on driving me to airport. Being there picked me up when returned. Left most belongings behind, taking only what could fit into suitcase, which seemed ease her concerns. Flew out on Sunday. Oliver picked me up at airport. Stayed with him and his family for a week, making sure call Olivia every night. By Friday, all paperwork sorted. Oliver took Christine to my lawyer, where she signed divorce papers, walked away with check for $10,000. Remaining $40,000 would be paid in 60 days. Once divorce finalized, never had see her face again, as wrapped up business. Occurred me still had personal items in storage, back in Phoenix, family heirlooms, yearbooks, other sentimental belongings. Decided better bring them all back now, rather than return for them later. So rented moving van, loaded everything up. When told Olivia wasn't flying back but driving, she surprised at first. But once explained bringing back everything important to me, she grew excited about my return. Drive took 3 days. By time pulled into Thunder Valley Ranch. Tuesday evening thoroughly exhausted. But warm welcome from everyone, especially Olivia made trip worth it. That night, Olivia continued her enthusiastic welcome until early morning hours, when both finally drifted off sleep. Completely worn out, with first part plan accomplished, could finally move forward. Finally ready put rest my plan into motion. Required multiple trips to prison, where Harrison being held. Goal was convince him sell me his ranch. At first he stubborn, resistant to idea, but kept pushing, making my case each time visited. Pointed out he'd be locked up at least 7 years, maybe more if things didn't go his way. Even with good behavior parole wasn't guaranteed. With no one look after ranch, his house and buildings would start fall apart. His cattle might not survive winter without proper care. Also questioned whether he'd be welcomed back into community once sentence over. Faced with grim reality losing everything, he eventually agreed sell. Offered him enough money, give him fresh start. Once he got out, he accepted. Next step, securing financing. Confident Christine wouldn't risk her $40,000. By pulling any reckless stunts, moved my money back into country. Negotiated purchase price $6 million, well below actual value property, making easier secure financing. Made down payment $1.5 million. Set up planned finance rest. Took about month finalized deal. During that time, kept activities under wraps. Only people knew what going on were Olivia and Walter. To them explained as personal business, involving my assets that required some attention. Though only took up day or two my week, created corporation, registered ranch under that name. With summer fading into fall, hired crew harvest hay on property. Also brought on 4 ranch hands live on site. Managed things in meantime. Most experienced group appointed temporary foreman. Made clear I'd be absentee owner at least for a while, but assured him could always reach me by phone. I'd visit frequently, check on things. Final piece puzzle remodeling main house. Large 2-story 5-bedroom structure. Desperately needed modernizing. Although Olivia frustrated by secrecy surrounding my activities, our relationship continued flourish. My love for her grew stronger every day. Could tell she felt same about me. Her veterinary business thriving too. She frequently on-road attending ranchers' needs. Despite busy schedule, remained happy and content. Were moments when almost let plans slip. After one particularly long day checking remodeling, Olivia cornered me with questions. What hell going on, Daniel? Are you seeing someone else? Taken aback by her suspicion. God, no, I swear there's no one else. Just have few things need take care of. Please believe me. Promise tell you everything soon. I'm asking you, trust me. She studied my face, searching for truth. After tense moments, she relented. Okay, Daniel, I do trust you, but better tell me what's going on soon, or swear go and kick your ass. Grabbed her, pulling her in for kiss, pouring all love had into it. As spring arrived and calving season began. Renovations on main house complete. Time reveal final part my plan. One afternoon asked Olivia go for drive. As cruised down road told her, been thinking it's time for me leave Thunder Valley Ranch. Her eyes immediately fill with tears. But you promised wouldn't leave, she says, voice trembling. Had timed it perfectly. We're approaching entrance what once been Harrison Ranch. Turn down private road. Glance over at her. I'm not planning go very far, I say, but wasn't sure she heard me. She too busy looking around. Clearly confused. What we doing on Harrison land, she asks. Confusion growing. Didn't answer right away. Instead drove us up to main house. When stopped, got out. Walked around her side. Opened door. Come on, I said, taking her hand. Want show you something? Reluctantly, she got out truck. Followed me up to front door. Unlocked it, let her inside. What you doing, Daniel? We could get in trouble for this. She hissed. Relax, I said, smiling. Harrison doesn't own this place anymore. Just want you take look around. Tell me what think of house. Led her upstairs, showing her bedrooms. Then back down to spacious living room. Den, 2 home offices. Finally kitchen. Could tell by look on her face, she loved kitchen. Brand new with every modern amenity she could ever want. There only one room in house with any furniture. One had set aside be my office. Rest place blank slate. Waiting for her decisions how wanted furnish it. So what you think of house, I asked. It's really nice, she admitted, but could see confusion still clouding her expression. Do you think you could live here, I asked. My heart racing as waited for response. What's going on, Daniel? What is this? Her confusion quickly turning into frustration. Dropped to one knee, reached into jacket pocket. Harrison doesn't own ranch anymore, I said. Looking up at her, I do. And I'm asking if you'll live here with me. As my wife? She looked at me in shock, her voice trembling. You own house. I nodded, excitement building in chest. Before could say anything else. She screamed yes, then pulled out engagement ring, holding it up to her, her eyes filled with tears. For moment thought made huge mistake, but then she tackled me, knocking me onto back, covering face with kisses. She held out her hand, slipped ring onto her finger. Her eyes lit up as glanced around house again, this time with new perspective, ran from room to room, inspecting everything like first time seeing it, waited patiently by door, until she came running back into my arms, breathless and beaming. House is beautiful. I love it, she exclaimed. Led her down hallway to 2 doors. There 2 offices. One for you run your business from, one for me, I explained, earning another long kiss. In my office, pulled out large piece paper, spread it across desk, drawing of ranch gate, with name Evergreen Ranch arched over it. What does Evergreen mean, she asked. Still catching breath. It represents new beginnings, I said softly. She cried again. Pulling at my clothes, I joined in, stripping her down, sat her on desk. We christened office with our love. In days that followed, made sure christened every single room. In our new home, once recovered and got dressed, told her timeshare news with her parents. She's so excited thinks she floated to truck. Got back just after 6. Walter, Eleanor, and Benjamin already in kitchen, getting ready for supper. We walked in together. Olivia held up left hand squealing. We're getting married. Eleanor jumped up, hugging her daughter tightly, while Walter and Benjamin came over, shaking my hand and slapping me on back. Got big hug from Eleanor too, while Olivia embraced her father and Benjamin. Once things settled down, we all sat down for dinner. Midway through meal, Olivia casually mentioned, "Of course this means we'll be moving." Walter, Eleanor, and Benjamin all exclaimed at once. What? Olivia looked at me, nodding for me explain. So I said, "Well, Walter, you know how Harrison always wanted? Combine his ranch with yours. Was thinking might actually be good idea." Walter shot up from chair, his face red. "There's no way in hell Flying Circle Ranch taking over mine." Laughed, holding up hands. "Calm down, Walter. It's no longer Flying Circle Ranch. It's Evergreen Ranch now, and new owners sitting at this table." "What you talking about? I bought out Harrison. Ranch belongs to Olivia and me now. New beginnings for all of us." Eleanor smiled, catching on right away. "I get it." Turned back to Walter. "Thought we could combine 2 ranches. Split everything 50/50ths. We'll run it together." Walter shook head. "But Evergreen Ranch twice size of mine. Brings in way more profit. You've been doing this your whole life, Walter. I need your help," I said. "Want us be equal partners. You'll be in charge operations. Whatever you say goes. Besides, it's part Olivia's ranch too. We're keeping everything in family." Walter sat down looking over at Eleanor. She nodded. After a moment, he reached across table to shake my hand. "Damn it, Daniel. This going to take some getting used to." "But I accept," he said with grin. I smiled. "We need more hands manage everything. Benjamin here go and be new head foreman." Everyone laughed when added. "Now I get pull out all those fence posts. Worked so hard set on that side property." That night filled with celebration. Olivia spent night in my cabin. By next morning completely worn out. We late for breakfast, but others still waiting for us when arrived. After eating, we all drove over to Evergreen Ranch, so Olivia could show off our new home. "Everyone impressed?" Noticed Eleanor casting jealous glance. At refurbished kitchen. Took Olivia and her mother full month. Furnish house. By time they done. Ready for us move in! On our wedding night, we married at Evergreen Ranch, surrounded by friends, family, and ranchers. From miles around who came celebrate. As Olivia's husband, Walter's son-in-law, new owner of Evergreen Ranch, was welcomed into their community. That night after wedding, finally got to bed. Where spent most night and good portion next day. Making love, would have stayed in bed even longer. But on 3rd day of marriage, whisked Olivia off to Bali for tropical honeymoon. Our first roundup that year was success. Sent lot of cattle to market, making hefty profit. Significant chunk went toward paying off loan. But with Olivia's business thriving, we're living comfortably. We even built new house for Benjamin, who now had girlfriend close his age. Wouldn't be surprised if had another wedding coming up soon. Another year has passed. Now my beautiful wife just given me best news of my life. She's pregnant. We're going to have baby. Before sign off, let me address something. No, some people will say, should have learned my lesson. Had Olivia sign prenup. But if you think that, then you really don't know Olivia. She isn't Christine. Works hard, takes care our home, shares her love with me every single day. She's her mother's daughter through and through. Every time look into her blue Scottish eyes, see that love.